Hello, Kitthesoulless here. No, Kitthesoulless here. And there's a lot that I need to talk about. Because I know all of you have noticed it for the past couple of years that I have been struggling. A lot of you probably don't know the full story as to why. And something happened to me today that I can't keep going on without talking about what's. I know I'm going to hurt people's feelings. I know I'm going to make people hate me. Because a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to believe that maybe they were wrong, or maybe they did something they shouldn't have, or maybe, just maybe, they've hurt people in ways that can never be fixed. I know I've shared with all of you the fact that I have scars. I know I've shared with all of you that I'm not a stable person. I've shown you all me at my worst, or at very least at my worst from what you've seen, and at my best. And through all of it, I've been able to actually feel everything. But that's only because I've learned how to feel again after a decade of not being able to find joy in anything, whether it was drugs or games or company of others or anything like that. Over the last couple of years, I've let people convince me of things that I knew weren't true. I let people blame me. I've let people judge me. And I've done it all in silence, knowing that they would hurt me just like everyone else had. I haven't been okay since 2018. I've been trying, but every year or so, something happens. Out of the blue, another friend will suddenly tell me that they want nothing more to do with me. A loved one will tell me I'm evil. And then leave a hole in my life where they used to be. Block me, abandon me, run to their friends, let them know how much of a monster I was. And I've accepted it. I've sat and watched in silence as my closest friends faded away. People I trusted turned their backs on me. There's a lot that I need to talk about, and I don't fully know where to start. Right now, though, I'm back to the point where I can't feel anything. Because right now, there's only one emotion that has a grip on my mind, my soul, my everything. Because as of yesterday, I was still building, trying to put together a life for me and someone I love. They were my purpose, my reason for waking up. They were what drove me to write. They were my muse. They were my closest friend, my most trusted confidant, and now there's a hole in my life where 20 years or more of dedication and devotion, or love I built, where a world I'd built for the sake of love used to be. And I'll be honest, I don't know how to live anymore. Because I'm not lying when I say that they were my purpose. And I know I'll be blamed for this. Because somewhere in my head I know that it's all my fault. And I know I shouldn't think like that. But I can't not. With everything that's happened to me over the years, people have toyed with something in my head that's made me worse. They toyed with the idea of love. I've had people tell me they love me, and it be hollow. And every time I know it's hollow, but they make me believe because I want to believe. But I don't think I can believe in that anymore. Because from where I'm standing, the relationship I've been in for the past 2 or 3 years has been very one-sided. I've tried, but when I was the only one reaching out for months at a time, being ignored for weeks on end. I've known for a while that my world was crumbling and didn't want to admit it. I've known for a while because I've watched it happen so many times. And every time it's like a knife to the heart. From any normal friend, it's like a knife to the heart. But losing my mate, that wasn't just a knife in the heart. If I ever had a soul, there isn't anything left of it at this point. Because in the last few hours I've had it torn out and shredded. I've had the world I've tried to build for so long ripped away from me. And I can't, I don't know, I can't keep doing this. Because it dawned on me that for the last couple of years I've been alone. I have been giving all the love I could give to someone who gave up on me time ago. Because it wasn't just being quiet, it wasn't just not responding to messages. I begged for years, just one phone call, please. Just 5 minutes. I just want to hear your voice, please. And every time, every single time, it was inconvenient. My mate was playing a game, had someone over, was too tired. I never thought my world would be torn apart like this, but no one ever does. And this is just one in a long line of things that have happened in the last several years. Because it hasn't just been losing my mate, it's been losing pretty much my entire family, little by little. It's realizing that even when I'm there, no one prioritizes me, no one chooses me over anyone else really. And I know it's because I'm hard to be around. Being alone sucks worse than you could ever imagine, especially for someone like me, because when I'm sitting here in a dark room, you'd beg God to save you from the things I can think. If you had to deal with the nightmares I've been dealing with now, most of you wouldn't be here anymore. I have lived with a constant reminder that to the world and to those who blame me, I am a monster. I've had to relive over and over the sensation of tearing the people I love apart. And it's not because I want to hurt anyone. It's because my mind fucks with me every time I sleep. Especially when I'm not okay, and I haven't been okay for years. It started in 2018 when all the death threats started happening. And somebody I thought was a friend, somebody I was willing to give to, so I paid for their cameras so they could start their YouTube channel. And a week later, they ghosted me because they had gotten what they wanted from me. Went on a tirade about how I'm not a good person because I didn't throw endless support behind every single solitary thing they wanted me to throw support behind, because, quite frankly, I have a limited amount of support I can give. I'm poor. I scrimp and save for $1,000 to be able to save up enough just to be able to go to one con takes me an entire year. And that's without throwing money at any charities, save for the ones that I've selected as ones important to me. I can't lob endless support, endless money. And when somebody comes to me every couple days with a new thing to shout out, a new thing to support, new thing to push, never comes to ask how I'm doing. After they left, the people that stayed, the people I thought were my friends, convinced me that the reason that they left was because my words were violence. They convinced me that me ranting and speaking my mind about the way I saw the world was slowly killing everyone that I love. They drilled it into my head that me using my voice was evil. So I stopped ranting. and I started bottling it up. I've been hiding everything that I see wrong with the world because somewhere I was convinced that every word that comes out of my mouth hurts someone somewhere. That me having an opinion, having a thought that doesn't fall in line with what everyone else wants, makes me a monster. And that if I didn't change, I would just be accepting, no wanting to hurt the people around me. So I silenced myself. I stopped talking, stopped ranting. But I also stopped writing, which is something that I put effort into learning how to become good at. Something I went to college to learn, understand better so I could become better at it. But I didn't have a purpose for my writing anymore. So I stopped. One by one, everything that I could do, everything that made me feel alive, feel human, one by one, slowly, I stopped. Because who has time to focus on themselves? My friend of 4 years has a podcast you want them to be on, or that they want you to be on. Sorry, my brain's not all here right now, and I'm probably going to take just a moment to go take a hit because I'll be honest, I'm starting to get sober. Right now I don't want to be sober. Sober is the last thing I want to be right now. Because the wound is still fresh, and without something to kill the pain, I don't think I'd be able to be here right now. Hell, I don't think I'd be able to live past today. And before anyone asks, yes, I have help. I have friends. I have my therapist. I have my family members who will still talk to me. But their numbers are fading every day. Every day. After 2008, I met Volk. Someone who claimed to care about me, claimed they would never hurt me, never abandon me, that they just wanted what was best for me. And at first it felt like that was actually the case. But then I became inconvenient because my life started getting stressful. I was balancing my own channel, the live streams, content creation, a job, full-time school, and a mother who was dying at the time, having to learn how to take care of her, how to make sure she stayed safe, stays healthy. Because at the time she was fighting cancer. Had been for months, had been for almost a year. And that was after the crash that nearly killed her. So I started showing up later to his live stream. I started missing occasionally. And he started telling me that I was disappointing him. That even though I spent what little free time I had with him at every turn, that I wasn't doing enough. And fuck, this is somebody who I would get off work, go directly to a college class, spend my time there working the entire time, come home exhausted, and immediately have to fire up my VR headset because someone wanted to spend time and stream. So I would stream with them until my stream started. And I would put on a performance. 2 to 3 hours then. And after every stream, I would go back on my headset and go watch movies with that fucking dragon. Because he wanted to spend more and more time with me, and when I couldn't do it anymore, suddenly I was a narcissist. Suddenly his friends wanted what was best for me, but if I dared to say anything that they didn't like, during those months I only slept 2 hours a day, if at all. It got so bad that my heart tried to fail once. So bad, my heart almost failed because I was drinking 500 milligrams of caffeine a day. Months. Because I couldn't function any other way. I was literally killing myself. Because somewhere he made it me feel like if I didn't, that I was somehow failing someone that was important to me. And when he left, he put all of the blame on me. Every bit of it. Every single bit. He even went so far as to try to harass me after I blocked it. Sent people to tell me it was all my fault. That I was the one to blame. guilted me until I felt like the only option I had was to kill myself. And I'll be honest, the only reason I didn't is because Rick stepped in. Because I asked him for help. Because I couldn't do it alone. Because I couldn't stand and deal with being bombarded by a dozen people all telling me that I was a monster that deserved to suffer. That I deserved everything that was happening to me because how dare I not give all of my attention to someone? How dare I not worship them? And yet I was the narcissist in this. I was the evil thing, the broken thing that can never be fixed. Because of course everything was my fault. Even though I was spending every waking moment that I had free with this person, it was never enough. So I started blaming myself for everything. I still do. With what happened with my mate, I still can't shake the feeling of I should have worked harder. I should have done more. I should have sacrificed more. And now they're gone, and it's all my fault. Because I couldn't give enough. Because I couldn't be enough. There are still people from Volk's group that are in my server. Some of them are probably watching this right now. They haven't said a word to me in years. They stay and watch, and I don't know why, but they're a reminder of every ounce of me. And because of it, I don't feel safe in my own home anymore. In the server I built for the community I helped grow from nothing, I don't feel safe anymore. Entirely because I was told that I'm not allowed to vent there. Because me saying things were not okay after one of my closest friends had abandoned me and blamed me and demonized me to thousands of people. I was the one to blame. I wasn't allowed to feel anything except guilt. Because if I did, it was all my fault. There was another issue. I think they go by binary stork now. They went by astral when they were in our server. I know, Jackie. There's still a lot I need to talk about. I need to take a break, so I'll be back shortly. By the way, for the record, he has been silent as all hell this entire time, but Nexus has been sitting here with me. So, yeah. in a bit. Honestly, I'm honestly overloaded with just excess. If I'm being honest, I know there are a lot of people that want to speak their mind and say their piece. I know there's a lot of people out there that want to help, want to make me feel like I matter and that I'm loved. I can't. I can't. It's not a break that I needed. It's for the people in my life to stop hurting me. Because I have been begging for mercy for years. Every time I lash out, it's because I'm overwhelmed. Because I have been fighting a war that none of you see. Because I have been expected to be the only one fighting, the only one working towards a better world for the people around me. And I don't know if you understand this, but there's only so much you can give. And I've been trying to pour from an empty pitcher for months, possibly years. But I have a lot more that I need to talk about before I can feel anything again other than sorrow. And I've held my tongue for long enough, so I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk until I feel like I've said enough. I'm well aware there are people out there that care about me. I'm well aware that there are people who might even understand that word. Right now, that word doesn't mean anything because I've heard from so many people who have turned it against me and used it like a weapon. Love has had no meaning for me for a while, other than a weapon to be used to beat me with. I have tried to be strong for so long. I have tried to fix everything that everyone perceived as wrong with me for so long. And I'll admit there were things wrong in my head. I had things that I needed to work through. I had flaws that took years to help fix or even to start fixing. And I've been doing all of that as well. I'm not joking when I say I have a small army of psychiatrists. I've got 9 of them that I occasionally talk to. One who is my primary care, but the other 8 are crisis counselors. And all of them know me. All of them know my face. because I talk to them so often that it's not even. Because it wasn't just with me. It wasn't just Vol. It wasn't just Rainbow. It wasn't. It really wasn't. Because let me tell you about the child that made my soul die. The one I found out abused my trust her to manipulate them and break them and leave them with the same kind of scars that I've suffered from all my life. The one who used everything against me, who made me want to die just because I was unsavable. Because even though he was a child raping monster, I was the demon. I was to blame for all his sins. He turned people against me using sex, claimed that I was doing things to people, all to make people hate me. He drove people so insane with anger against me that two of them tried to kill me. And that's not a joke. One of them straight up showed up to my house with a hatchet, and when they arrested him, after he fled when he realized I had a gun, they found him down the road with the hatchet and with tarping and ropes and plastic bag and cement in his truck. The person I brought into my life because they acted so innocent, because they made me believe they cared, just like they did with everyone else, even their own family. Someone who raped their kid brother so often that when he tried to move back in with their parents after college, his brother had such a bad breakdown that he almost died. Not from suicide, he almost just stroked out and died because of the stress. He was only fucking 17 when he almost died from a fucking stress-induced stroke because of the shit this person did to him. And yet apparently in their eyes, in the eyes of all of the people who seem to want to protect them, I'm the fucking monster. Because I didn't let him rape people that were close to me. Because I didn't let him drive my closest friends, my children, my family members. I didn't let him drive them insane because he just wanted to see how long it would take for someone to finally snap. I didn't let him. So he turned half of my family against me. Turned people I had known a decade against me. Made me feel like I deserved everything. Stalked me for months. Hell, some of them are still stalking me to this day, and this happened a decade. These are some of the people who have done things like send dead animals to my doorstep in the mail. They've done things like sending fucking used condoms in packages by the hundreds. And I haven't been allowed to say anything because they said that if I did, they'd kill me. Understand you guys have no idea exactly the level of war I've been fighting. Because I've never let you see the worst of it. I have never told you, unless I didn't have a choice, when someone's come to my door trying to kill me, or the people I've literally had to beat unconscious to stop them from hurting me. I never want it. I can't stand to physically hurt people. But I didn't have a choice. They would have killed me. Or how about the prissy little bitch? The one that, because she had a Twitch channel with 100 or so followers, she thought she was the star on my channel. So much that she antagonized. When she didn't get her way, she would talk behind my talk to the people she was grooming, the children, the minor that she was convincing would someday be allowed to have sex with her, who hung on her every word like a parasite, who wound up alienating everyone they knew for her. People that she used to tell that I was a monster, and would freak out any time I had to be a voice of authority in any way, telling them how I was such a horrible dictator, how I was such a control freak and a violent maniac, how I scared everyone around me, all because she couldn't understand that when you're playing a team-based game, when you're trying to do something with a group, you're not the only one involved, and your satisfaction or pleasure isn't the only thing. One who sent her little fans to harass me in private, who came at me sideways telling me that I should straight up kill myself because I dared to make her upset. Sat there telling me of interesting ways of how I could do it. One of them even suggested the right caliber of bullet to make sure I wouldn't survive it, just in case my aim sucked. Or how about, there are so many. How about the cat? The one I helped come to a convention who never paid his debt, who chose someone to be in their life who was unstable beyond. And when I say unstable, I don't just mean like me. Because trust me, I might be crazy, but at least I'm one of the ones that get it. It's the ones that think that their cause is noble, think that they're doing what's right, can't see that they're hurting people, can't admit that they might be the problem. Those are the ones that, those are the ones you have to worry about. Because here's the thing. Scar took advantage. Because I helped salvage everything after his, uh, what's it called? Phone broke one year. And everybody would assume that it broke because, oh, it fell or what have you. No, he jumped in the fucking pool with it in his fucking pocket. So, my roommate, my brother, person I've lived with now for decades, paid $200 to help him get it, and never got reimbursed the $300 for the room. It took a year for Scar to pay back just the phone, at least in full. They said it was entirely because they couldn't function. Because even 4, 5, 6 years after COVID, they were still suffering from such a debilitating effect of it. They couldn't ever function again. They couldn't function, so they couldn't make money. So they couldn't afford to repay. I've had COVID 4 times. What they're talking about is an excuse. Because understand, they claimed neurological effects from COVID. They used it as a cudgel to beat the person they were with so completely that the relationship ended. They used the people around them. And then when everything happened with Volk and that catastrophe, suddenly that cat that always wanted to be around me, that child of mine, the one that always said how much they loved me and how much they cared, stopped showing up. Little at first. They had new friends in VR that they wanted to spend more time with. So I let them. I accepted that I am not the center of everyone's world. I know I'm not. I've always known I'm not. In fact, to be quite honest, I don't believe I've ever been the center of anyone's world except one person, and that's only because for a while I didn't give her a choice, mostly because she was dealing with me shitting my diaper when I was in work. after the Volk thing happened, he got distant. They were living with V a little bit, and then V went ballistic and freaked out and tried to guilt anyone and everyone into flying them out with money that didn't exist, with money none of them had to spend, and guilted them and guilted them. Oh, I'm going to die if you don't help me. I'm going to die if you don't do it. It'll be your fault. V, by the way, is named V Omega. You might remember them from this channel's history as well as YouTube's, well, furry history in general, because they were caught grooming. And at the time, I just kind of assumed that one side was being more malicious than the other because I had seen the same malice over and over. Because one claimed innocence and the other had no proof, other than the fact that they had been in a relationship 2 months prior. And one of them had just turned 18 that week. So the younger called it grooming and lashed out. And usually when you see that, it's because of fear on the part of both sides. No one's really to blame unless they act out. And one of them did. They acted out by making hit pieces, videos defaming this person. Hell, their, I think one of their friends even tried to dox them, like dox V. And this was back during the era of cancel culture. Well, when it first started, when it started getting bad. So I listened to both sides and chose a side. And I guarantee I made the wrong choice. Because after I refused to help V when they were manic and freaking out and telling people that they would die if they weren't given everything they wanted, I dared to tell them no, and ever since then they've been the one doxing me. The Kiwi Farms post was them. The fact that people were able to come to my house with weapons to try to kill me was because of V. This is someone me and Scar knew. We both knew this person. We both spent time with them. We had both seen what they became. This person is sick. V ran away from a loving home with parents that have been sick to death. But they claim that their father was abusive. Because they didn't want them to hurt themselves. The last ex they had before Scar that I'm aware of broke up with them because they stole from them and then blamed them, badgered them because they needed to work harder to make more money so they could both survive, because otherwise they'd both be homeless, while doing nothing to add to the household's funds because they can't legally work. They're an illegal immigrant from Canada. They don't have a green card. They don't even have a passport. And for the record, yes, once I locate them, they will be being reported to ICE because they've legitimately attempted to have me killed. Very specifically, one of their exes, one of the ones that still pined after them, showed up at my door with a shotgun. And I had to listen to the sound of that man be shot by the SWAT team when they showed up. You know what it's like cleaning blood off of your door, having to replace the door because there's too many bullet holes. I may have listened to a man die that night. I don't know because I never checked. Because V told them that I was a threat. So they decided to come after me. This is the person that Scar chose instead of me. This is the person they chose to support, chose to remain friends with, let them remain part of their life. The person that tried to have me executed. And yet, they brag to these friends of theirs. Scar brags to this friend, his friends, how the only reason he stayed for so long was because of how much he used to care about me. Like that makes up for anything. Like that means anything. Because in the time between Volk V were years of silence, of quietly assuming that I would never be better, that I would never fix anything, even though I was doing everything I could to get help. They quietly assumed that I was the problem. And every time they saw me fall, sinner and not, they used it as ammunition, used it to justify the resentment. Because who could ever love a monster, right? Love, loyalty, friendship means nothing. Family meant nothing. And I don't know if you guys understand this, so I'll make it very clear. To me, family means everything. That's why I used to be very guarded about who I let into mine. But then all of this hit the fan, everything started happening, all of the abuse, all of the misleading, all of the manipulation. And somewhere everybody who asked was allowed to lay claim to it. I will say this. There are some of you who claim to be family who will always be part of my life, even if you hate me, even if you see me as the devil himself. Because once I accept someone into my life like that, I don't intend for them to leave. I take someone in, it's because I want to see them live their best life, and because I want to protect them. But I hate to point out that all of these people, B, claimed to care, claimed to love me, until I was inconvenient. Volk called me his brother, until I was just the fursuit maker who failed. Scar told me they would never leave me. They told me that they wanted to see me live a happy life. And then turned around and used my suffering as a weapon against me. And I really wish this was where it all ended, where I could finally stop and finally let everyone think that's all. But it's not, because there have been so many more done this. So many more people who've demanded I let them be part of my closest inner circle. Gave them a chance. They used it specifically to hurt me. How about the sister who chose a rapist, pedophile, who lied and stole from her friends, who to this day coddles a man who tried to groom not one but three of the people in my Discord server, including a member of my own fucking collab team. Who abused one of my kids. And who to this day believes that he is capable of laying a demonic curse on my, who's so deranged that he believes so intently that he's not human, but a cage imprisoning Belial himself, the Lord of Darkness, he who existed before Lucifer fell, believes himself to be the vessel of the true evil of the world. My sister, who told me she would never, ever betray me, chose the one who raped his own brother. Chose the one who hurt not one but three other members of our family. Who almost got one of my friends killed. Do you know what it's like to get a call at midnight with people crying and begging, asking, saying this person is so drunk that their skin is turning black. They've been vomiting for hours. How do we help? Do you know what it's like to have to walk somebody through treating something that is almost always fatal? I do. And I'm so glad I knew how. Because if it hadn't been for me walking them through the process, you would have died then. Did it intentionally. He had been watering down his own drinks and feeding everyone else pure. He admitted it. Around the same time he admitted it to one of my other actual true friends. When he dared to ask this person if they had any secrets to teach him on how to manipulate Claire until she killed herself. Because he wanted to see what it looked like when a black girl died. She chose that over the rest of our family. And what's worse, she tried to claim that she was the one in the right and I was the monster for not siding with the one who chose to lay with evil. All because the person who did all this to my family was fucking her brains out every night. She stayed with him even after she found out what he did. She chose to try to justify his crimes because, oh no, he was just mentally ill. He didn't know what he was doing. You could help him. You could teach him. No, no, I can't. Understand, when somebody is a part of my life, I don't stop loving them. They stop loving me. I don't work like that because once I tell somebody that I love them, that's something that stays. And if they stay by my side, it can be something beautiful. But when they leave, it just becomes a reminder that I chose to love the wrong person. That I chose to trust somebody else who would hurt me. Because I'm too willing to trust that anyone out there is actually a decent fucking human being. I've always been too nice to people. And I've always been too cruel to myself because of it. By the way, this sister and the fucking psychotic she chose. Yeah, they both blamed me too. Because it was apparently my fault that one of them was a pedophile. It was apparently my fault. They forced themselves continuously on somebody before I'd ever even met any of them. It was my fault for not being willing to let him hurt. Because me saying no drove him so crazy he had to get mental help. No, I wasn't the one that did that. It's the fact that his father told him if he ever saw him again, he'd blow his fucking brains all over the goddamn. His own biological father has told him in no uncertain terms he will kill him if he ever sees him again. Give you an idea of how bad this person is. How about the countless friends of friends who spend just long enough around me to get something, and then leave the people I care about having to apologize? Because they thought that they were genuine too. They thought that we'd get along. There's been a lot that's happened over the last couple of years. And I'll be honest, I haven't been able to sleep well, at least the last two. Because with all of the stress, of not knowing when my mate was going to tell me it wasn't enough, of when the people around me would stop hurting me long enough to hear me begging for mercy. I have spent so long hopeless and hating myself because I carried the blame for everyone, because they made me believe I had to. They made me believe that the only way I could ever be was if I sacrificed everything. They made me believe that the only way I would ever find happiness is by giving up everything that I am, everything that made me who I was, and obeying their will instead. Understand, I've never liked the idea of conforming. I've always walked my The worst part about all of this, in my eyes, is one phrase: you've changed. Because those are the words they use when they blame me. I used to care about you, but you changed. I used to want what was best for you, but you changed. I used to want you in my life, but you changed. Every time, every time, blame falls on me. But here's a problem. How have I changed? Exactly. Because understand, my belief system wasn't shaped by the people who think they're better than me. It wasn't shaped by the people I've met in the last few years. It was shaped when I was 16, fighting a war, being shot at and beaten daily, being hospitalized by gangs of thugs for daring to claim that being how I am, being what I am, that I should be seen as equal. My beliefs were forged in the sound of gunshots and people screaming hatred, screaming slurs, screaming that God hated all of us, that we would all burn in hell for our sin, that no repentance would ever save us, because we were born wrong. Because I hate to point out, some people can't choose who they love. For some people, that truth is more a reality than anybody realizes because, one, I'm gay. I've been gay since I was born. It's biological, I can guarantee you it's biological. I know this because there have been decades worth of fucking experimentation and study and scientific inquiry about whether or not there might be a biological component for why almost every species in the world has tendencies in some capacity towards same sex attraction. But I can't just love anyone either. Because understand, for me to feel that emotion in even the slightest bit, I have to have a reason to care. You have to have shown me enough of you already that I started to care. You have to open up enough that I would want to be there for you, to protect you, to hold you when you need someone, to tell you that everything will be alright when it feels like your world is falling around you. I can't feel for anyone or anything love until I have a reason to. Same thing goes for attraction, by the way. Demisexuals don't just get off anyone. In fact, it's nearly impossible for a lot of us to function in a relationship because sex is usually an issue. Because I don't know if you know this, but I can't even get hard unless there's such an intense emotional attraction that when I was stressed, I couldn't even get it up from my back when we still loved each other and I knew for certainty that we did. Love is something I can't feel just anyone. So for me to call you part of my family, understand it means I love you, for better or for worse. And every single time somebody takes that bond, tears it apart, breaks it down, and uses it like a weapon to hurt me or to hurt the other people I care about, it leaves scars you can't understand. Because my chosen family isn't just those friends. They're the people I chose to let see everything of me, who I trust enough, who I care enough about, that I want in my life. My own blood, for the most part, doesn't even get that level of devotion from me. Because it was my own brothers, my own father, who were the first ones who ever hurt me. Oh, one of them was the first one that raped me. My own brothers have tried to kill me. My middle brother, when I was 7 or so, before the accident, but not long before, decided one day that he wanted to play a game. He thought it would be fun. So him and his buddy had me lay down on the ground on the grass, picked me up by my legs and swung me. Thinking it would be fun. It's just like when you were a little kid, when Dad would pick you up by the arms and swing you around. You used to love it so much. In mid-rotation, took a step so my head would hit the branch of a massive tree. Split the bark in half with my head. Caused such an impact that I had a severe concussion, a bulging, severe laceration to the face. I almost died because the concussion became a problem. I wasn't allowed to fall asleep for 3 days because they were afraid that if I did, I'd fall into a coma. So I had to sit there in pain in a bed, dark room, 3 days. And all the while he laughed about it. My oldest brother, when I was 6, tied my arms together and walked away and assumed I would be dead before anyone noticed. Somebody noticed and dove in. My dad beat both of them so hard that night they bled. Not because they almost killed me, but because he had to explain to the police that the attempted murder of a child had just been an accident. My beliefs where politics are concerned, those were forged in the fires of a hell that none understand. Because here's the thing. I grew up with Republicans telling me that I was a pedophile by fucking default. Because I was broken and couldn't fuck a woman like any other God-fearing man. I had to listen to their children beg judges not to let us have our rights. Because their parents had made them so terrified of the big bad homo man that they begged the judges not to let. I can't even say the word they taught the child to use. My channel would be deleted if I did. No questions asked. Do you know what it's like to hear a 4-year-old beg a judge not to let a monster get them? To hear them screaming in terror. Listen to their parents coach them to lead them in what they're saying in a way that makes you know it was rehearsed, makes you know it was terrorized into this child before they spoke. And understand, it wasn't just the Republicans. No, they were the vocal ones. Prop 8, bill that I fought against and helped get overturned when it passed, was penned by the left. The state amendment where I live that was put to a simple 50-50 vote of the populace that stripped the rights of an entire type of people, that criminalized daring to let us marry in your church, or daring to hide the fact that we were, daring to help us escape. Was an imprisonable offense. That was penned by a Democrat. And ever since then, I watched that party slowly to the extreme. I watched them walk away from everything they had taught me about equality, about not embracing hatred, about loving everyone around you, of being willing to accept those who are different because we are all a little different. I watched that slowly become the party of they'll take away your rights if you don't obey. The monster will make you suffer if you don't obey. The orange man will deport you. It doesn't matter if you're illegal. He'll lock you up and disappear you. Your only hope is to obey and give us power. Accept communism and give us rule. Give us authority over everything you hold dear, or else he'll get you. I've watched the Democrats become a party of oligarchs and liars, thieves and manipulators and conmen. I've watched the slave markets in my state, where people drive their car up, whistle and say a number, and people get loaded into their truck to go off and work for next to no pay for 20 to 50 hours at a time without a break. Slave away for somebody who's willing to pay them pennies. All of it encouraged by the people who have been in power here for the last 30 years. Understand that because of all of that, my beliefs never change. My belief has been and always will be: do your research and vote not on tribe, not on side, not on color or creed, but on what you think is best, not just for you, but for the country that you represent. Yet apparently I'm some kind of Nazi to these people. The man who will tell you do your homework is the one that wants you dumb and uneducated and dependent on the bourgeoisie. I'm very set in what I believe because my beliefs don't change on a whim. But apparently to all of them, I changed. So I'm the one to blame for the fact that they no longer care. For the fact that they'll justify hurting me. And in some cases justify killing me as being something for the greater good. But apparently I'm the monster. I gave up my peace, my identity, my compassion, my everything for these people. People like Scar, Bolt, like Knight, like Otter, Jamie. If you've been with the channel long enough, you've met all of these people. We've all been part of this, part of the channel at some point or another. For those who don't recognize the name Jamie, try Foxy. That's what she went by when she was part of our group. It's been 2 hours and I wish this was just the end of it. I really do. But there's still a couple more. People who left fresh scars. Ones that I have to deal with every day and every night now. Who made certain I will never know peace. All because they blamed me for their faults. If you all learn anything from this, and from what happens to me, let it be this. Be very, very careful who you trust. Because our world is not a kind thing. Take things slow. Grow. You have to walk before you can run. Because if you run into something too quickly, it'll never end. So, hey Nexus, how's your soul doing right now? Ever wondered why I've been so exhausting lately? Yeah, or can you understand why I can't? What makes everything worse is the fact that I am honest with everyone about my faults. You can attest, I told you I was crazy when we first started hanging out. I've never hid that I'm broken. I've never hid my scars. I do that because I don't want to hurt anyone. I have never wanted to cause anyone. I have never wanted to have to be the one to be mean. The reason I'm honest is because I live a life where I am at war with myself every single day, fighting memories that haunt me, fighting the sound of screams that follow me. I wear these big ass earphones everywhere because I can't stand the sound, not of the world around me, but the memories that are blaring in my head constantly. I live with constant random pain because occasionally I'll relive what it felt like to be shot or stabbed, beaten, raped. And every time it sends my world spiraling because every time it feels like it's just happened again. And I try my damnedest to fight it alone because I know it's terrifying when I let it show. Because I can't be strong in those moments. I can't shield people in those moments. And yet, people don't seem to realize that I am indeed ill. That I do indeed need special care taken by those who are around. Because I know for certain that I do. And people often take advantage. They see somebody willing to show them kindness because they know what it's like to feel like there is none in the world. And they take, they take until there's nothing left to give. And then they make it my fault and blame me and tell me I'm a monster and tell me I should end my life. Because if I did, I'd save the world. Understand, there is a belief I've held for the last couple years that the moment I die, the world becomes a paradise. I have genuinely felt like I am the purpose, the cause of all suffering, not just human, all suffering. Because I spent years being told that I was evil for having boundaries, that I was evil for saying no, that I was evil because I dared to think about me once in my miserable life. Speaking of one of them, about the one I forgave far too many times. A person who a couple of you who play Thorian might recognize as probably one of the worst assholes you've ever met. You joined in when he did. He was the idiot who almost got you arrested with him in your very first scene because he was wanted by the guards. He was doing stupid and being a menace. And you tried to, intervene because he told you they were going to kill him. And then proceeded to fuck with everybody around the entire group. And tried to kill another player in game because they didn't get their way. Yeah. No, they stayed for a very good portion of the first campaign you were in. Do you know why I gave him so many chances? I met him playing a game called Payday. He was a 13-year-old kid who wouldn't leave me the fuck alone. I thought I was cool because I knew how to play the game in a way that he didn't, in a way that made him more money in the game. And somewhere in spending time with me, doing crime with me, playing a game all about bank heists and lying and shooting the cops and stealing. Somehow he got better little by little because he had been a menace as a child too, worse than he was. And his mother came to me and thanked me because I was the only one who would give her son a chance. And she became my friend. And I could see how it was weighing on her, the way he acted. So for her sake, I wanted to help him change. I wanted to teach him while he could still be taught, before he became like his brother, another drugged out, broken criminal. So I gave him chances. I helped her raise him. I helped plan his Christmas gift. His mother and I traded recipes, life stories, secrets. I shit you not. For a long ass time, she was my gal pal and I was her gay best friend. And he started telling her that I was doing things to him. And then became obsessed with me to the point where I had to involve the police, to the point where he stalked the stream, stalked the server, went insane, claiming that I had promised to share my life with them. I'm sorry. You're young enough to be my legitimate child. No, fuck that. You are nowhere near mature. I don't want somebody fucking 10 years younger than me, let alone that much younger than me. I have a requirement for people that I'm interested in. They have to be mature. I don't know where people get the idea that I'm some kind of fucking predator for where kids are concerned. Because I'm sorry, I can't deal with kids. I don't mind being around them, I don't mind teaching them. But I have to take breaks. Because I'll be honest, they drive me nuts. And not in a good way. Because kids drain my social battery in a way that I can't explain. They hurt my head. I honestly don't know how anybody could ever find that to be something that, not so much in like being a parent, but like that. It's anathema to fucking humanity. But he tried to convince his doctors and his mother so I'd stop talking to her. Because he thought it was a disgrace that the, quote, drunk old bitch was taking up so much of his friend's time. And yeah, you guys know who I'm talking about. And I'm sorry, but I know this next one's going to hurt somebody in the chat. Somebody I care about. But it is something that I have to talk about from my side. Because do any of you have any idea what it's like to have somebody confide in you one day? To tell you they think they might be broken like you. To break your heart and tell you that they've been suffering the same way you did. And then disappear in the next moment without warning. And then the next day, I start hearing from my other friends, my other family members, that they're conspiring to accuse me of crime. That they claim I've ruined their life. That I'm the reason they suffer. To know they're willing to go to somebody who's tried to have me killed just to get more information on me. So they can sick the authorities on me. Crime I didn't commit. And that I was able to prove even to them that they weren't seeing past the way they thought they were. You know what it's like to have somebody up in your life so much that you have to lose sleep for days. That you lose 10 pounds from starving. To know that somebody you've given so many years of trying to protect, trying to help, of trying at every turn to make sure their life is something worth living. Only to find out that they're trying to ruin you. Hey, like, not this one, but the other one, the one who was a kid, whose mother was one of my friends. You know exactly who it is. It was Adam. And I have named every single other person I've mentioned. Because that's another thing. I know I've been trying to be nice in not naming names for so long. But I'm being cruel to myself by protecting the people who've hurt. And after having been called a narcissist so many times by so many of them, I think it's about time that I, for once, start thinking of myself. So from here on out, I'm not protecting the people who've hurt. No. I was friends with him up until authority. But that campaign, his bullshit quickly ended what little I cared about that bastard, because he had already destroyed everything and every bridge that connected him to me. And he showed up one day saying he wanted to make amends. So for his mother, I gave him one last chance. And he abused the people around him. He manipulated the people around him. And then blamed everyone else when somebody finally killed his character and told him to fuck off. What did you have in mind? No. Frost has never actually done anything to hurt me. If nothing else, he's one of my closest friends. Oh, he gets me sick anytime he gets sick. He lives with me. Anytime somebody in this household comes home sick, we all get it, no matter what. Don't you go getting sick now, too. Frost, though, from day one, he's been a good kid. I mean, you've met him, he stays out of the way. He's gentle. He's kind. He tries, but he doesn't try too hard. And he's seen everything firsthand that's happened to me. So he knows better than most that sometimes you have to listen instead of just assume. That sometimes the most important thing you can do is listen to understand, not to respond. Because sometimes people need to talk, and they need to be heard, because they feel like it's something important. Hell, he's been lenient with calm. Every time I've forgotten to, like, edit one of his videos and had to push it back or straight up lost the footage or what have you. No, 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 no. See, a certain phoenix gave him a very, very special gift a while back. Mr. Fish. I have been bonked with that fish more than once. But as for the last person I was talking about, since what happened, they've been willing to hear and to understand, to try and work with the people around them. They're only one story, and they're one of the only ones so far that has ended without a gaping hole where they used to be. That's because, in part, I'm sure, over the years, Claire, you've seen everything I'm willing to do. You've seen the extent I'm willing to go to try to help the people I care about. But understand, what happened did more damage than you like. Because I can't tell you all of the things that happened in those couple days. Because honestly, I can't remember portions of it. Because I was so stressed that I blacked out a lot of what happened. And after I was allowed to calm down after the court dates happened, after everything, when I was finally able to breathe, it's like my brain shut down and locked away all the memories of everything. The worst moments of it I can't. But I know there are new scars on my arms, physical ones. I know there's new scars on my legs. People don't realize that when you let yourself get this close to someone like me, it's not just something you can throw away without it doing damage. The reason I am honest with everybody up front about how broken I am is because I don't want people around me who can't. I don't want to be the reason you suffer. The last thing I ever want is to hurt anyone. But I know that what I am, the particular ways I'm broken, can hurt. even the people I love. I'm honest because if you're not strong enough to walk beside me, I need to know it so I can protect you from me. Because if I'm going to care about you, I will never let me be the reason why you suffer if I can help it. Because I know I'm dangerous. Not in the ways that people assume. I'm dangerous because I get to know people. I get to understand them. People open up to me because they've seen how broken I am and how much I've survived. The secrets I carry for everyone I've known could move mountains by the sheer weight they carry. And like I said, I've stopped protecting the people that have hurt me. That's why I have to talk. That's why I had to do this. And as I said before, I know there will be people who hate me for it. But I need to think about myself for once, because if I don't, I won't be here. Because I know if I don't take care of myself right now, I'll do exactly what I've wanted to do all day. I know that, and I fight against that every chance I get. But understand it takes a certain strength, a certain willingness to learn, a certain will and want to understand. If you can't do that, I can't feel for you because you'll hurt me eventually. And I know that. Because hurt people hurt people. And I know just by right of who I am, sometimes I hurt the ones I love. I know that. It's the biggest reason as to why I hate myself so much. My mental health, is one of the reasons I require people of a certain mindset. People who are willing to learn what they don't understand. People who are willing to accept that sometimes there isn't a way to fix who are willing to see somebody break and still be willing to tell them that it's okay, even when all they can see is a fucking vicious animal, so terrified of the pain that their teeth buried their first hands on it. Because to be honest, sometimes I am. Sometimes I do bare my teeth because I'm afraid of being hurt again. Sometimes I bite to tell you that I'm in pain and that I'm not okay. And I need to know whether or not the people around me are the ones I need to protect from, or the ones who are strong enough to deal with it and to understand that an animal doesn't get this way just by living. They get this way by living out of fear, of living in terror. Sleep well, Johnson. Oh, see, that's the thing. Like, you've seen me break. You know how mean my words can get. You've seen it in the Discord. You know I can say things that hurt. I never intend to. But when I'm overwhelmed, I can't. Because when it feels like my mind is dying, I have to grow. Because if I don't, I know it'll get worse. That's why I'm honest with everyone. I'm not okay. Because I don't want to hurt the people. I don't want to hurt anyone. But I know that just by letting people get close to me, it's always a risk. Because I'm broken in a way that can't be fixed. I suffer from something that will never heal. Plague me until the day I die. I have known my entire life that I'm okay. And I'm the first to tell everybody that. For as much as all of you have seen me break for the years, Every time you've seen me bounce back, every time you've seen the panic end, every time you've seen it, something always happens. I always try to distance myself. I try to isolate because I know I can be dangerous when I'm not okay. Not a danger of physical harm. I know the harm I can do leaves scars much worse than any fist or blade that can never be healed. And I'm very careful to try and escape, to lock myself away when I know I'm going to break. Majority of the time it happens. I don't let you guys see it. But I know I can keep some semblance of control is when I let you guys see. Because I know that I can be monster. And I've spent my entire life trying to learn how to make sure that it doesn't hurt. I know for a fact that I can better myself. I know for a fact that some of the problems I have can heal, but some of them never will. Because some scars never fade. And I don't know how better to explain it than that. Right? Because there's no way I can show you at all exactly what these memories do to me. Because how do I explain what it feels like to have somebody find? How do you start to explain what it feels like to feel a bullet pass through you? How do you start to describe what it's like to be caught in your throat and choked nearly to death? How can I explain that I sometimes just randomly stop breathing? Not because of anything physical, but because I can feel fingers around my throat cutting off my oxygen, and I can't physically draw breath until that sensation stops. How do you explain that it's not something that people can see that is killing you? That it's memories that have been turned into weapons, and they keep following you. There is an aspect to what I deal with that no one will ever understand. Because no one else can possibly understand these memories. That's why I try so hard to make sure that I'm not going to hurt people. That's why I'm so careful with who I let into my family. I am so selective of who I trust. Because every time I open up my heart, I run the risk of a new scar that will never heal, of a new memory, a new pain. I'm so selective about who I trust because I know just how easily it can be used like a weapon against me. It is. And the first thing they tell you is that it's not something that'll ever go away. Because the gravity of that statement is the thing that makes so many people end it. Because if they're not taught the gravity of that, they'll hold on to hope that maybe, just maybe, the therapy, maybe, just maybe, one day they'll be free. So they have to tell you, first and foremost, that you will never heal, never fully, because they need you to understand just how deep the scars you're experiencing go. PTSD doesn't happen from something minor. It comes from something that destroys you, from traumas that would break most people. I know I've shared some of them with everyone. I've shared the worst night ever with, because some things I can't tell. Because just letting people know what happened, just letting people understand will break them the same way that because I've seen things in this life that would ruin any normal man's faith in humanity for the rest of their life. And I would rather the people around me be happy than to ever have to understand what that's like. Yes, I know. We are well past time. There wasn't a schedule for this. I said I was going to talk until I felt a need, until I felt I was finished. And I've spoken my piece about all of the people who have hurt me so far, just the last couple of years. Or at least all of them that did enough damage. There is one I can't technically talk about for legal reasons. like I understand in the last couple of years that all of this has been happening. I managed to understand where one of the weirdest kinks I have comes from. I've managed through therapy to understand that it wasn't healthy, that it was a coping mechanism for something someone had done in my past. It made me feel hopeless. I have worked on destigmatizing myself. I'm trying to learn again that I'm not evil. That I'm not just the monster that everyone knows. I do work on healing. Nobody ever sees. I've put so much effort into fixing so many of the things that are wrong with me because I genuinely want to be a better person. I've made mistakes. I've hurt people that I care about. I've done things that I can never forgive. All because I didn't have a choice. And those memories will haunt me forever. But I've worked endlessly on each memory to try to tear out its fangs and make it so that when it comes back, it doesn't hurt. I've been in therapy for years, 13 of them to be exact. I know I'll never fully heal, and I have gotten somewhat better. Hell, the only reason I'm not a stark raving lunatic is because I've made an effort to get better. Because honestly, there was a time I couldn't even speak because speaking felt like such a crime against humanity to me. Because when I was a kid, I didn't get a say in anything. I know I can heal some of what's wrong with me. And I've been trying. The fact that I'm capable of speaking at all in any coherent way is a testament to the fact that I have come farther than most people will ever. The fact that I am not a sobbing, screaming wreck of a man is proof of how far I've come. And I intend to keep learning, keep trying, keep working. I intend to keep bettering myself at every turn. But part of that means sometimes I need to take a weight off my chest. And I know people try to tell me I'm not a monster, but understand I can be. That's why I work so hard to try to make sure that I don't. Because the last thing I want to be is a monster. But I know all too well of how capable of it I can be, especially when I'm out of my mind. I know. I'm well aware. Kind of the basis of starting to learn how to heal is accepting that no one's perfect, that everyone makes mistakes, and that what matters isn't that a mistake was made, but in how it's dealt with and how you respond, whether or not you're willing to admit. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. Always have been. Anyways, I think this is where I'm going to close this. Verb, if you're still there, any closing words if you'd like? Welcome. If you're on, same for you. Yep. I think at some point I'm going to start doing something akin to my rants. But I think I want to do them in this format, live. This this felt like what I used to do back when I used to rant. No hate, no malice, just a need and a desire to see people grow, to see the world change. I think that's a big part of who I was. before I started to sacrifice what I was for other people. Because I'll be honest, not being able to rant for so long is one of the biggest parts of why I've been, well, going downhill for a while now. A couple of years worth at least.